It's like, sometimes they find out the information really shortly before the event happened, or sometimes they find out the baby's stillborn after it's stillborn. And under those circumstances where there's no prep time, where Adele had months of prep time, people react differently, and there's sometimes the grief is so overwhelming, you want to do out of sight, out of mind. So get it away from me, then it didn't happen. And we discourage that in the medical profession.
My thoughts was, why did this have to happen to us? Because we such deserving parents. We got 4 girls all together total, and it was just a frustrating moment.
Whenever you get this sort of information, you go through a whole process, process of just like you do with if somebody tells you that you're going to pass, and you're going through a period of denial. You don't want to believe it, and a period of mourning, and a period of what are we going to do, and a period of what ifs, and you go through all these processes, and then some people totally decompensate and can't cope with the situation, and some people like Adele puts her head together and says, hey, let me see what I can do positive out of this horribly tragic situation.
I mean, everybody grieves differently through the experience. I mean, it's hard losing a child, but when you have somebody that had already went through the experience and the grieving process, talking with them is most important, because you need that support from somebody that knows exactly what you're going through.
I don't really remember much about Connor, but when they put him in this a little crib thing, I just put all his toys around him. That's really all I remember.
I will just say that this was probably the most touching of all the events that I've had in my 20 years of OB/GYN practice, in that here was a very good family, well-educated, caring, who had to go through a tragic event, and Adele was an absolute example in how you should cope with that kind of situation. She took the information in, she processed it, she came out with something positive that she could do about it, and spent a lot of energy, a lot of effort doing it. So, the whole medical community lauds her, and the medical community appreciates the thing that she's done.
When we were going through everything, we told Tucker that the baby had some broken parts that just couldn't be fixed. And so that once he would be born, we were going to spend a little time with him, and then he was going to go to heaven and watch over us from there. And that seemed to be a pretty sufficient explanation for a 3-year-old. As he got older, he did ask more questions, because he didn't really, we didn't want to explain to him about the burial. We just told him that we were going to have a special box that we would bury in the ground, and Connor himself would go to heaven. And so he handled it pretty well. He still gets upset here and there when he thinks of Connor and wishes he was here. He would be turning 7 this year if he would have lived.
The Connor Kirby Infant Memorial Foundation has provided financial and emotional support to 106 families in its brief existence. Whether in the form of a simple grave marker or an elaborate funeral, the needs of families in the darkest times of their lives are met. The Foundation's very existence provides the gratification to a grieving family that a child's life will not be forgotten, however brief it may have been. Because every child deserves to be remembered.